All right, we got a special guest tonight out of the Midwest. He's got 200,000 monthly listeners on Spotify. His song Summer Nights is about to break 2 million on Spotify alone. He's been on tour with artists like Abstract, Cam Meekins, and Moonlander.
Let's go.
And and his name's Jake Luke. And we're going to get things started with him sharing a little bit about how he first started getting into music.
Yeah, absolutely. And thanks for having me on.
Yeah.
I would say my initial, I'd been in and around music for a really long time. I was really involved in music when I was in high school. I was in choir and band and a bunch of stuff like that. I was in drama, high school musicals and whatever, but then I was like also in sports. So I did a lot of shit back then. But to be honest, doing music as a career wasn't really even it wasn't on my radar like at all back then, just because where I'm from, it's like, I didn't ever really saw anybody doing it. So it just wasn't even on my radar. And then when I went to college, I originally went to college for mechanical engineering, actually. And at some point, I just kind of was like, yo, I don't know if I'm set up to be like in corporate for the rest of my life. And I just kind of got the wheels turning, and I just kind of messed around and made a mixtape when I was like 21, I think, or 20 was when I made my first one. And then from there I was just like, I was hooked, and I wanted to figure out a way to be able to make it like better, because like the first one that I ever did, I recorded with this kid in Minneapolis, and it was just some shitty mic in the fucking ghetto in North Minneapolis, and it just was, it wasn't great, you know what I mean? But that's like how all the first ones are, right? And but I just like, I love the process, and I just was like, I felt like there had to be a better way to like go about doing it and stuff, and at the time I just didn't know what that looked like. But yeah, that was kind of my early beginnings.
I don't know. This is kind of getting off track a little bit here. I don't know what it is about Minneapolis, but I almost feel like some of the dirtier spots are like some of the coolest places. Like you go in
It
like
can be.
yeah, no, but like stuff like the first half bathrooms, like absolutely disgusting bathrooms, but a great music venue to go see a show at. You're just like,
That's
yeah,
fair.
if this was a bathroom anywhere else, I probably wouldn't go to this establishment, but since it's here, you're like, let's go. It's a good
First
time.
Ave is freaking. They're the best. They're the goats. I was
Yeah.
happy. I don't know. I'm happy like to see that they've, grown outside of what they originally were. 'Cause I mean, like back in the day, it was really just the one venue, and then it's like, as some of the other ones have kind of just like had super bad management, because that's just like super typical with venues and venue owners and venue management. They just have kind of scooped a lot of the other medium and small ones up, and so now they just kind of run that shit. But they're super well run. They're great to work with. So I love anytime even as a concert goer, like just any of the ones, like the one that's in St. Paul,
Surf Club?
Amsterdam,
Oh,
Amsterdam
Amsterdam. Yeah.
Club. Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. They run a bunch of them. I think they also run Fine Line, and I can't remember. That might be it. No, I take it back. I think, do
I think
they?
they do Fine Line. I think you're right. I
Yeah,
think
I
they
think
do
they
own
do
Fine Line.
Fine Line. I think they maybe even. I'm not sure. I was gonna say they maybe run stuff for Caboose even sometimes, but whatever. Anyway.
Yeah. No, it's an interesting area. I still remember when we were younger, the roof collapse when Theory of a Dead Man was there. Do you remember that?
Damn, at which one?
At First Ave.
Oh, like the main room? No, I didn't
Yeah.
do that.
Yeah,
That's
the
crazy.
roof like caved in or something like that. It was
God
Theory of
damn.
a Dead Man and the
When was
roof.
that? A long time ago? 10 years ago?
Yeah, this had to be
15 years
like
ago?
2010, 2012-ish time.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
15
It
years
was a
ago.
while back, but
Damn.
yeah. It was like I thought they were gonna like I didn't know what they were gonna do with it after that, but they kept it.
They kept that shit moving.
Kept it moving. So when you first got started releasing music in 21, you said,
Yeah.
did you?
No, I was 21. It was like 2012. No. I take it back, 2013, I think.
2013. Okay.
Uh,
Did you know, like, from the jump what kind of sound you were going for? Or how did you go about
no.
developing your sound?
Well, so back then I was going under a different moniker, and shit's too embarrassing. I can't even say it out loud. But no, back then it was like very honestly, it was like almost closer to what a lot of what Eon Zero's stuff is now. Well, like what a lot of core stuff over the last like few years, like much more rap
Hmm.
centric, a lot less like pop centric, which is what like my stuff is now. Um, but even like back then, it was like I always thought my stuff was decent, but it was like it wasn't like all the way there. If that makes sense, it was just like it was kind of like missing just like that. I don't know, fully like polished, but also just like it wasn't me. It wasn't like authentically me. I feel like back then, and it kind of took me a while to figure out like what I really wanted my sound to be. And I feel like now I have a very definitive sound. Um, but yeah, no, I mean, it takes a while. Like I always tell people, like I help record and like mix and master for some other people, and I've always had people come up to me and be like, "Yo, what do I got to do to get started?" and this and that. And I'm always like, "Yo, take your first like I don't know 30 tracks that you make, put them to the side. You just hold on to those. Don't show anybody those." and then you can start showing stuff to people because it's
I
like
bet.
you just like don't like I mean there are people that are like lucky, and if you like have the right if you have a good mentor, or you know you have like people in your camp that really know what they're doing, it can help. But like I didn't, and a lot of people don't, and so it's a lot of like just kind of figuring it out by yourself in the beginning. And that's I don't know, that's just definitely how it was for me. Like it's a miracle I still have the friends that I have after the stuff that I put out back then.
I I feel like that's kind of like maybe it's just the crowd of people that I listen to and interview, but I've talked to so many people that say that they started out making rap music and they didn't like feel like it was them and got out of it. And maybe that's just like the crowd that I interview and I talk to, but I've just a lot of people like Moolander started out more like
Yep.
hard rap.
Yeah, I remember
Ollie
that.
Joseph, hard
Yep.
rap. But
Yep.
you know, it's
But
just
Ollie's
like
really good at it, so that's like hard.
yeah. He wasn't doing anything wrong with what he was doing, but it's
No,
just like they just feel like it wasn't like who they were like meant, like the type of music they were meant to make.
for
Though at the
sure.
end of the day,
That's what they wanted to put out. Yeah, no, no.
right?
Yeah, and I definitely felt into that, or I fell into that camp. I also think that like there's like waves of time where certain things like make more sense. Like when I was doing it back then, I just felt like if you don't have a record deal, which obviously I didn't back then, or now, but just in general, like the independent route for rap is also like it's more like attainable, like close. Like a lot
Mhm.
of like pop and like some other type of genres, it like seems further away because there's a lot more involved. Like there's a lot more to get to the point of it being like professional from an outside perspective, like with the brand, with the sound, with um just there's a lot of ins and outs behind the scenes with I mean music in general, but like especially with like I feel like certain like pop stuff, it just is like uh there's just like more to it. Like especially like the big the big stuff. It's they just there's just like a lot more thought that goes into like the brand and just like a bunch of the moves that they make. You know what I mean? And I just feel like there's that this is how I felt initially, where it was like I saw people that were just like opening for different acts that came through and would just hop on tours or this and that, and it was a lot easier to get into that world. Like there was a lot lower barrier to entry, I guess is maybe the better way of saying it. Um and so I think that's like why a lot of people go that route at first. Like they can see themselves getting to that point, and then when they kind of figure out their own like sound and stuff, it's like people kind of branch off into different stuff. Like another really
Yeah,
good example, like somebody from Minnesota, I'm guessing you probably know, Call Me Charisma. I feel like
yeah.
he's a great example of that too, where it's like he started off like very rap, but now it's like much more like alt, almost even rock.
Yeah.
I think it's a common thing.
Yeah. No, he did. Honestly, I haven't listened to a lot of his rock stuff, but I was really into like his sad boy, like rapish
Sure.
stuff,
Yeah. No, I mean
stuff
he's really
back.
good.
Yeah, I'll have to check out more of his newer stuff because I kind of
He's like
and
similar to like kind of the sound like that,
like
like
Swaco, kind of right. He's kind of
kind
like
of
an
yeah,
Echo.
or even like what Echo's doing, or
Yeah,
even like some like Fixes stuff.
yeah,
Um,
I like Fix a lot. Fix does a lot of good
yeah,
stuff.
it's like similar, or even like some of the stuff. I guess I was gonna say almost like a couple years ago, like what Ryan Oakes was doing, but now he
Mhm.
kind of went more like he actually went back into like rap.
Yeah,
But anyway,
yeah, no, it's an interesting way that that's navigated, but
yeah. Well, I think like here the thing is like in a creative space too. It's like a lot of people like fall in and out of love with certain things, right? Where it's like, and it could just be like as simple as like what like tickles your fancy as far as like the creative side of your brain, because like I just know a lot of people that even if they're in a certain lane or sound, they still sometimes will make other types of stuff literally just to like do it, to like
Mhm.
do it as an exercise almost. Or just like to scratch that creative itch, but they don't necessarily put it out because it doesn't coincide with their brand, with where they're at currently. Um, and I think that's like sometimes like a hard thing for some people too, where it's like they feel like they're just kind of in a box and then they have to only make this um just because like that's sometimes that's what people want from you, you know. It can be that simple, but some people have a hard time with that. They're like, no, I want to make this and I want to make that and I want to make that and I want to it's like you can do that, and some people make it work. Like I think like if you have like a gigantic organic, like a truly organic audience, you can make that happen because people are there for you. But if you rely on
like Nick B, where he could drop. I feel like he could drop any kind of song and people
yeah,
would listen to it. Like it
I
could
think
be, he could drop a screamo song tomorrow, and there's be some people that would go check it out and be like, "What is this about?"
yeah, I mean, he definitely has a big enough audience. I think a better example would be like a Russ, because he'll go
Oh yeah,
like R way R&B to like pretty rap to like. I mean, I don't know. There's different examples, or like even like there's a lot of examples. My whole point though is it's like if you need to rely on an algorithm to push your stuff to kind of put you into a box, um, it's more difficult because then like if you like as an example, if I put out like a rock song tomorrow, Spotify is not going to know what to do with that. And
hmm
so it's probably not going to do that well for me personally. But if you have somebody that makes a lot of that type of stuff, it knows where to fit you. And so that's where it's like pushing you. But there are certain people, if you grow big enough that you have like a truly organic audience that are people that are just going there for you, you can make it work. And I think that's like the goal for most people.